I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh at what just happened in Rudy's house because
Rudy's
am I
like,
missing some
wipe
cool
your
camera
butt.
stuff?
yeah.
Wipe your butt.
Oh, wait, I thought it was on mute.
Definitely not on mute.
What the? Oh my god. Oh well, Abby, everyone heard you now. Take it over. All right.
Yeah.
Now
Oh,
she's on
God.
the show.
Who is your daddy? I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
Welcome back to the Game of the Year show. We're here with your host, Tim Nestor. Say hi, Tim.
Hello, everybody.
That was terrible. Nobody responded. All right, so we're back with, what is this, day 3? I'm going to say day 3. Day 3 of the Game of the Year show. We have Tim Nestor here. We have Kyle.
Heyo.
Say hi, Kyle.
How's it going?
And last but not least, Rudy. Welcome back, Rudy.
Woo! Hey guys.
And by the way, I'm
See,
Derek.
You can host the show.
I can
Don't let
totally
the
host
haters
show.
get to you, man. Don't let the haters get
It's
to you.
all the same people
it's
that
funny,
hate on me. They won't admit that they love me, so they just hate on me.
Okay, but the thing is, the people who like to post that, those are the same people who, if it were just me on the show, there's no way they'd listen. They need you on the show to keep feeding their interest because they like to hate on you.
Well, it's
They
like,
need you on the show.
I'll go back to, not to distract us too much, but I watched like a long time ago the Howard Stern movie, and they were talking about his ratings on the movie, and the guy was getting frustrated, and he's like, we just got to get people to like hate him, blah, 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 and they're like, what are you talking about? 95% of the people that listen to his show actually hate him. They listen to him so they can hate him more.
Makes sense.
That's my goal, is to be Howard Stern.
That's a good goal.
Yep, sounds about right.
Let's bring some prostitutes on right now with daddy issues. Let's go.
Oh man.
All right, well, we're going to continue our conversation here, and we're going to kick it off actually by looking back to a year ago as we were all putting together our favorite games of the year. Some of you were voting in our community picks from last year. Thanks for doing that, by the way. And many of you, whether you were on podcasts or just listening to podcasts, you knew which games were your top 10 of the year. And so what we're going to do now is just our panel without debating anything. We're just going to quickly run through each of our top 10s. If you've got, one or two that were close, you can mention that. No need to take a deep dive into each of these, but just give us a rundown of 1 through 10. What were your favorite games from 2017? Let's start with our guests. We'll go with Rudy first. If you've got your list ready,
Sure.
if you need a minute.
Yeah, I got it pulled up. Yep. All right. So I'm gonna start from 10. Save the best for last. All right.
Oh, that's a good call. Yeah, good call.
So 10. Well, also I just want to mention, going back and trying to make this list, I didn't have it ordered, so this might change from day to day, but whatever. Anyway, 10. Final Fantasy 15 came in right at the end there. Really enjoyed that game, but towards the bottom half, I'd say. Next, Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. I love that one. We got Gears of War 4. I mean, bro shooter. You guys know what that's all about. Doom. And then we got The Witness, which I know has been a very hot topic on this show.
Boo.
Hey, come on, Kyle. How about you, Kyle?
Man,
Hello?
I gotta be
Anyone?
honest, suck at puzzles, so I never played that game.
You're standing alone.
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
one,
I'm
Rudy.
alone on that one. All right, but I'm going to reel Tim back in on this one. Say Last Guardian, number 5. Really like that game.
There you go. Attaboy.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. Dishonored 2, number 4. Uncharted 4, number 3. I know all you guys like that game. And here, a very controversial above Uncharted 4 is Inside, number 2.
Oh, Inside's awesome. Good for you.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, good for
And
you.
last but not least, Dark Souls 3, the best.
All right,
game
good pick. Good pick.
of the year.
Way to finish it.
Thank you.
And this is why that we're just doing personal lists because we were both excited and triggered by everything on that list.
Let's put
Someone
it this
was.
way: if we would have required like everybody's top 10 list to pick who's going to be on their show, Rudy probably wouldn't make the cut.
That's true. I've had enough of the Dark Souls.
Too many
Too many Dark
indie
Souls.
games on there that I hate. The only redeeming is Dark Souls 3 at 1.
And that's a knock against you for me.
Cool,
So if we were
wait.
both voting, we would both kick you
Hold
off.
on, guys. I got some big AAA games in there. Final Fantasy, Gears of War, Doom.
Too low on
Dishonored.
Final Fantasy 15.
Okay,
Get them
okay.
out of here.
Fair enough.
No, that's a good list. That's a good list, and it's interesting. I think was it you, Rudy, that said as we were messaging back and forth about this. I'm surprised at how many games came out in 2016.
I forgot, man.
Yeah.
It just it's crazy.
It was a surprisingly good year.
Definitely.
So, and of course, Kyle, you remember we talked with you and Colin and Derek and I. We all talked about best years in gaming, and I think we all agreed. Colin made a good case that 2016 was actually better than we gave it credit for. And it's true.
I agree.
It was. 2016
He
was
did. He made a really good case because now in hindsight, even at the time I was really resistant, but like a whole year later thinking back on it and revisiting this list, I was like, man, I'm having to cut a lot of games off this list because of games I caught up on or games I missed. And
Also,
maybe I was having an off year, so.
Also, if I had played, did The Witcher 3 come out last year?
No, 2015.
No, it was 2015. Okay, so if I played Hitman, I probably might have. The way that looked, it looked like it was really good. And just shout out Fire Emblem because that game was awesome. So
there you go. Okay, cool.
Fire Emblem's awesome, man.
Kyle, what about your list from 10 to 1?
My list from 10 to 1 is number 10, Forza Horizon 3. My number 9 was Inside. My number 8 was XCOM 2. That's a game I actually just finished this year too. I played well into this year. Just a lot of fun.
I need to play that.
I gotta play that too.
It's so good. Naming, I saw John was doing it not too long ago where he was naming like buddies, like his soldier names, stuff like that. That's how you get invested. It's a good game.
You know what? He only did that so he could kill us all off. But continue.
That's true. I know. There was sinister stuff going on there, but it started off nice. My number 7, Mafia 3. Game got a lot of heat. I wrote a really good review for that game. Well,
I like that
really
one.
good. I don't know. The developer actually.
Did you just say I wrote a really good review of it?
I thought the review was really I meant like a positive like.
Kyle.
I don't know if it's good, but like it's not a negative review.
It can be both. It can be both, Kyle. It can be good too. You're a good writer.
We heard you.
It could be. I don't know. The developer tweeted it because I know that they were doing they were getting they were doing really bad at that time. It was getting a lot of really bad word of mouth. Awesome. 6, Doom. Number 5, Dark Souls. No, I'm sorry. Number 5 is Quantum Break.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Dark Souls 3.
Woo.
Number 3, Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. Number 2, Final Fantasy 15, kind of higher where it should be.
Sorry, guys.
And I'm a sellout, so my number 1's Uncharted 4. So.
Sellout.
That's not a sellout. That's accurate. That's correct.
It is accurate.
Yeah,
no,
it is totally
overrated.
Thank you, Tim.
Overrated.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Tim.
All right, Derek. Let's hear your
overrated. That's not
All right.
Derek. Let's hear your top 10 list. Actually, before you give your list, let me take a guess. 10 through 1 is Dark Souls 3.
Correct.
Who's guessing?
Correct.
Well,
Okay.
10
would
is
agree with
Final
that.
Fantasy 15, and then 9 through 1 is Dark Souls 3.
Okay. Fair.
All right, so real quick, what I'll do is I'm going to read my list that I did from the show, but I actually redid my list. So just bear with me for a second. I won't explain them. I'll just read them off real quick. So this was from our show last year. My top 10 was Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Ratchet and Clank, 8 was Dishonored 2, 7 was Doom, 6 was Uncharted 4, 5 was Mafia 3, 4 was Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, 3 was Gears of War 4, 2 was Dark Souls 3, and 1 was Final Fantasy 15. So I redid it a little bit.
What, Derek? What did you just say? Oh my.
That was his list last year at this time.
That was
we did
last
the
year. That
show.
was last year. Oh, okay.
Last year,
I'm
last
gonna give him a chance. Go ahead.
All right, so 10 is now Ratchet and Clank, so I dropped Tokyo Mirage. 9, and this is a big drop off, is Mafia 3. As much as I did enjoy it last year, trying to go back and play it, I just don't enjoy it. It's too repetitive. 8
I can't go back and play it either.
Yeah, but it was good. I'm not gonna knock it. It was fun last year.
Yeah.
8 was Titanfall 2. 7 is Doom. 6 is Dishonored 2. 5 is Uncharted 4. 4 is Gears of War 4. 3 is Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. 2 is Dark Souls 3. And remaining at number 1,
I'm out of here.
Final Fantasy 15. What an
Oh, he's
amazing
leaving.
game.
Rudy, come back. Come back, Rudy.
Yeah.
By the way, I completely forgot about Titanfall 2. God, if I had to include, I'd probably put that in my list somewhere. But
It might squeeze in a list somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was actually off my list last year, and I was like, what are you thinking? You love the campaign, and I played a lot of multiplayer, so I had to throw it in there.
Nice.
Good one.
Nice. All right, I'm going to look at this real quick because I'm with you. I think I had a different list from last year. So last year, my top 10 list sounded something like this. Far Cry Primal at number 10. The Last Guardian at number 9. Mafia 3 at number 8. Inside at number 7. Deus Ex Mankind Divided at number 6. Ratchet & Clank at number 5. Watch Dogs 2 at number 4. Hitman at number 3. Final Fantasy 15 at number 2. And Uncharted 4 at number 1. That was my list last year at this time.
And where was Dark Souls 3 on your list? I wasn't listening.
Yeah, we were having trouble hearing
Non-existent.
Dark Souls 3.
There's a reason you couldn't hear Dark Souls 3. All right. There's a reason. Where did it go here? Let me find my list for this year. It is different. There's a few games that I was able to play that didn't make the list, but I wanted to give a little shout out to. Some smaller games like Overcooked and Stardew Valley, they wouldn't make my top 10. Actually, not quite close to the top 10, but they were really good games that I finally got to this year, and I really, really liked. So I thought I'd give those a shout out. All right, where are we here? All right, so now I've got games like Ratchet & Clank, Stardew Valley, Overcooked, Mafia 3, Titanfall 2. Those all just came short of my list, but I like them all. They were all just short of my list, though. So Mafia 3 fell off the list. Ratchet & Clank fell off the list. Here's my new top 10. Far Cry Primal still at number 10. Fire Emblem Fates, number 9. Gears of War 4, number 8. Finally got around to playing that one. It made my top 10. Last Guardian moved up a little bit, number 7. Again, this is more, the more you process it, the more, I don't know, it lands, perhaps. Number 6 was Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Final Fantasy 15 down to number 5. Hitman dropped to number 4. Watch Dogs 2 still at number 3. Doom at number 2. Doom is my new number 2 game. I finally got to play that, and it is, I mean, it actually gave Uncharted 4, which is my number 1 game, a run for its money. I just had so much fun. I thought it was the best first-person shooter campaign I've played in a long time. It's gorgeous, it's violent, it's fun, it's everything I wanted out of really any first-person shooter, let alone Doom. And I was very resistant to it at first, but once I dove in and started playing it, that's one of the best first-person shooters I've ever played. So there you go. There's my top 10. No Dark Souls 3, sorry. Yeah.
Terrible.
All right, so there's our revisiting our top 10 lists from last year. It's very interesting to look back, and I'm sure if we were to do this again next year and look back at 2017, we might have some changes there too. Some games, when we get to the overall, might still be the same, but I'm sure there's going to be some we didn't get to that we'll finally go back and play, and that will work their way up the list. So maybe like Golf Story, Derek. Maybe that'll be one that works up your list, yeah.
I hope so.
All right, so let's jump right in there and just pick our favorite sports game of the year. Instead of trying to rank them, I don't think enough of us have played all of the major sports games released this year, number 1. But number 2, it's just really, I mean, it's tough to compare any of these, but with sports and specifically, how do you say that Madden or MLB The Show was better than the other? I guess you could, but I'm not really interested in that conversation as a listener, so I'm not really interested in that as a debater either. So there you go. So let's go ahead and just make some picks. What were some of your favorite sports games of the year? And then I'll let you guys know what the community picked for their favorite sports games.
I'll say Forza Motorsport 7 is probably my favorite of the year.
That's the only sports game that I probably played, and I use quotation marks because there's no balls or anything in that game. So.
Oh, there's balls when you're driving with a male driver.
Well, that's true. Yeah, touche.
Only sports game I played this year was NBA because I have a buddy who loves to play that, so that's probably the only one. It's fun. It's well made. I'm just not huge really into any of those games, but it's good. It looks good. Probably picked that.
I actually liked NBA Live more than NBA 2K this year because 2K felt like
microtransactions and all that crap.
Yeah. I was playing my player. I wasn't just playing, with friends or anything. I was playing my player, and it definitely feels like a money grab game. Like they're just trying to get you to buy their stuff.
Yeah, I just turn it on every so often. We just play a game or two. That's it. So I believe it though.
Well, my favorite sports game of the year, I didn't play very many, but it had to be Golf Story. Golf Story was my favorite sports game of the year because just as a straight up little golf arcade game, super fun, and it just so happens it's also very clever and funny and interesting to play with little RPG mechanics mixed in there. But that was my favorite sports game of the year. So there you go. And I didn't play a ton of them either. But I think Pyre was pretty fun too, kind of creative. Wasn't enough for it to stick with me, but I would count. I mean, I don't know if you guys count that or not. I would count that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I would definitely switch to that.
But the community voted as well, and they picked MLB The Show 17 as their favorite sports game of the year. So there you go. Those are our picks for best sports game. We're super sporty. All right, moving on to favorite family games of the year. What were some of your favorite family games or games that are just good for kids in general? What would you pick as the best game that you would say is family friendly, kid friendly, whether or not you played it with your family?
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Super Mario Odyssey and let's add on Zelda Breath of the Wild were the 3 games I played with my daughter the most. So those are the ones that I enjoyed with family the most.
Okay. What about you, Kyle? What was your favorite game that you would say, yeah, this is a good family game?
You know what? I know I'm going to get some flack for this, but I didn't buy this game, so don't come at me. I played 1-2 Switch with my niece and nephew when I went home.
Is it fun? Is it actually fun? I've never played it.
It's fun. Like, if I don't have to own it, we played it one time. It was fun to play with them. They were having a blast, so it's definitely more for them, I would say. But yeah, it was a good time. It's a good way to burn some energy for sure.
Cool.
I would throw in FIFA 18 as well, which you could throw that in my sports games too. I had a lot of fun playing with Ian and Eli, and those two play each other. I wouldn't say a lot, but they do every once in a while, and it gets pretty heated. It usually turns to blows, like punching each other. So good times.
What about you, Rudy? What would you say is your favorite family or kids game?
I'd probably give it to Odyssey. I played that with my daughter for a while. I mean, she didn't really know what she was doing much, but she liked the control and the hat there. So for other cases, I could see that being a great game to play with someone else. It makes it way easier to do stuff in that game too. Someone's controlling the hat, so I'd probably pick that. I'd say Mario Kart, even though it's a re-release, that's like a go-to. 4 people at once going. So I'd probably pick those two.
What would you guys think if they added as DLC like Luigi with his hat, and the two of you could run around the world like split
I'd play it.
That'd be awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Or if you own 2 Switches that you can connect online and play, that would be awesome.
I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're
help
going
each
to
other
do
get
DLC.
stars and stuff. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think it would be great.
I wonder if they're going to do DLC with that game now that they did some for Zelda. So it's what the way
they are on the DLC bandwagon. I mean, they're supporting like all their first party with it, so I imagine you're going to see some type of support.
Even Fire Emblem Warriors just had their first DLC drop just this week or something like that. Like, I'm like, what?
I mean,
That's crazy.
I hope so, but for Zelda, they announced it even before the game came out.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
They gave you the details.
But they got some backlash, so maybe taking a different approach. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe that's
people are never happy. So $20 for all.
That's the truest statement that Rudy's made so far in our discussion.
You can't announce DLC before the game's release. You can't announce it during its release, and you can't announce it after its release. You can only say, "Guys, we're adding on to the game, and it's free." That's the only way you cannot upset someone.
And even then, you'll have people who are mad that you changed the experience. So no matter what.
And Nintendo is not allowed to announce DLC at all because people say that Nintendo's DLC is not worth as much as DLC on another platform. So when they announced $20 for 2 packs of DLC, people were still angry. I don't know.
Nostalgia. You only bought it for nostalgia.
$20. That's craziness.
All right. So for our family,
Nintendo,
as far as like
kids watch. Console.
As far as kids watching games or, even taking some turns on it, Mario plus Rabbids was one of our family favorites. Kids loved it. As far as they're concerned, it was like watching a cartoon until you got to the battles and they got a little bored. But in between and that kind of stuff, they loved it. But for me, the winner's going to have to be ARMS. Our family loved that game. And I won't make the argument that it's one of the best games of the year. But as far as family goes, if you have 2 sets of Joy-Cons and you can do like the punching and the moves and the jumping and stuff with all the motion controls, you get a couple 6-year-olds and then have throw a 10-year-old in there too and just let them play for a couple hours and they are laughing their heads off, yelling at each other, laughing again. They had a blast with ARMS. So
awesome.
That was, at least for our family, our favorite family game of the year. That's not to say that I think it's a better game than Mario Odyssey. Just from our experience, that was the best family game of the year. All right. So let's talk about Microsoft really quickly. Let me ask you guys something before we talk about the nominees here. So if we're going to talk about best Microsoft game, I'm not personally including, this is really just meant to be Xbox, right? I'm not including PC, although you can make the argument that they're just as much a PC developer as they are Xbox. But I'm really talking about Xbox One games here, just to kind of apples to apples compare it to the PS4 and to the Switch. That's the whole point of why we're doing it this way.
So let me ask this, because of the way you said that.
Yeah.
Can we include PUBG, because even though it started out on PC, it is a console exclusive this year?
That's exactly what I was about to ask. So yeah, what do you guys think?
I agree with that. Yeah.
I think PUBG should be included.
I think so too.
Okay.
I think if we're going console exclusives, I mean that's it's a pretty generic term. We can.
Yeah, I think the key is console exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I just added
at least
Yakuza
this year.
0. Like that's not a Sony made game; it's a Sega game, but it's only on, PlayStation.
Let me read off the nominees that I've got on this list here so far, and you guys remind me if I'm forgetting something that was technically an Xbox console exclusive. Who cares if it's on PC or not? That doesn't matter.
Okay.
We had Candleman, Cuphead, Forza Motorsport 7, Halo Wars 2, Player Unknown's Battlegrounds, Super Lucky's Tale, and Tacoma.
What the hell is Candleman?
Is that?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I've never heard of Candleman.
So this, I've never played it, so I don't know much about it.
Well, it's not winning on my list.
Yeah, it's not going to be number one on this list. I guess.
Okay, am I leaving anything out? And since we're kind of debating this list, do we need to kick any off? And maybe that's the one to kick off because we just don't know anything about it, and it feels weird to even rank it last.
This looks really.
We just leave it off.
This looks really cool, but I agree. Yeah, we can leave it off. This looks really cool.
Yeah. If no one's played it, I guess we should leave it off.
I don't know. I'm okay either way.
Okay.
All right, so we'll get rid of it.
Yeah.
So we don't have to narrow down the nominees at all, which is nice. That does save us a little bit of time. We just need to start ranking these things. So if we get rid of Candleman, has everyone at least tried these other games a little bit? What about Tacoma?
I have not tried Tacoma, but I know enough about it to at least comment on it.
Okay,
I've only played 3 of these, actually.
Okay.
PUBG, Halo Wars 2, and Forza Motorsport 7. Jeez.
I thought you got Super Lucky's Tale, no?
No, I haven't bought that.
Oh, I thought you did.
I just knew I wouldn't play it, so I haven't bought it yet.
No one else got Super Lucky's Tale?
Nope.
I didn't play that one either, no.
Oh, sorry, Microsoft.
Sad state of
few
affairs.
games. Yeah. All right, so we're down to 5 games. All right, so I have played Cuphead, enough Halo Wars 2, I think, to give it a ranking, and I think I've heard enough about PUBG and about Tacoma to say they're both really interesting entries to their library this year. So let's go ahead and get things started. If PUBG is included, is that kind of a no-brainer winner for
it is
the
for
Xbox
me.
exclusives?
I would also, yeah. I would think
2 weeks ago, I would have said Forza Motorsport 7. That's actually what I have on my spreadsheet. But after putting in probably in the last 2 weeks, 10 to 20 hours, somewhere in there, of game time with PUBG, and I've done it on both Xbox and PC, PUBG is an outstanding game. It will be in my top 10. It has actually messed up my top 10 a little bit. I just love it. I freaking love that game. It's amazing.
Okay. All right.
I bought it last night.
Kyle,
I have not played it yet, but I bought it last night. I've watched a lot of Let's Plays. I mean, usually
Kyle, let's play, man.
Let's do it.
I'll play with
seriously.
you tonight. I'll play tonight.
Show me the ropes.
All right, so Rudy, you've played this game.
I have no
Rudy,
idea.
you've played this game, and you've also, you've also played Cuphead. Do you think PUBG deserves the win for Xbox?
Oh, it's so hard. I love PUBG, but man, Cuphead was really good. I know it's not the popular game here, but I don't know. You know what it is? I think I like PUBG more than Cuphead, but it just feels funny because 2 weeks ago that wouldn't have been included in this, and now it is. That's the only reason why I feel funny about it. And I want to give it to Cuphead because PUBG just became an exclusive. What was it, like a week and a half ago or something?
Yeah, I mean, but still counts.
I know.
Still counts.
I'm just gonna be a different guy and go Cuphead.
I mean, for me personally, I put Halo Wars 2 at the top of what I've played on the system. I think it does the most. It's a full-fledged video game from start to finish. It looks nice, plays nice. It just so happens that I wasn't really in a RTS type of a mood. I played it for like 3 or 4 hours and really liked it. I just wanted to get to a different genre of game altogether. I think it deserves to be, if not 1, since you guys picked PUBG and I'm totally fine with that, I think it deserves to be number 2. I think Halo Wars 2 was a great game, and if you like RTS games, especially on consoles, it's as good as they've ever done.
See, that's the problem with Microsoft's exclusives this year. Is there's no, like, to me, just my my opinion. I think some of you would agree. There's no like heavy hitters as far as most of them are in niche like categories. Like Halo Wars 2, I think is got quality cutscenes. It looks gorgeous on the Xbox One X. Obviously, looks good on PC. It plays well. There's no flaws really to the game that I've hit so far. But it's an RTS, so I have no emotional attachment to it at all. I have no desire when I turn my Xbox on to play and beat this game. I'm like, I got, I might play it a little more, but I've got what I got out of it. PUBG, I'm addicted to. Maybe it will only last for a week more or so, but for right now, I'm addicted to it. And Forza Motorsport 7 is, even though it's just another Forza game, it is the first one that went native 4K. It plays like a dream. It looks like a dream.
It does.
So I'm fine with, like, because Rudy really likes Cuphead, and I know, Tim, you're not a big fan of it, and you can talk about it. I'm fine with Cuphead being 2, and then you guys decide where Forza and Halo go. I have no feelings towards Tacoma.
That's fair with me, because I think you're right. First of all, you're very right in saying that if you look at these, let's say, actually every single game, they're so incredibly different from each other. It's like there's no, you can't say like, well,
we've got a first-person shooter, we've got a side-scrolling shmup, we've got a racing game, a very real sim racing game, we've got a RTS, and then we've got, I think it's an adventure game.
It's kind of like a walking simulator.
Yeah, it's a walking
simulator. A floating simulator.
So with such a small number of games that are so ridiculously different from each other, it's really hard to make this list. I don't know.
And even Super Lucky Tail is a 3D, like 3D like Mario, kids platformer, like a Mario type game.
I think Cuphead deserves to be up towards the top at least. I don't really.
What do you think, Kyle?
I mean, I think Cuphead deserves to be up to the top too. I really like Forza also, but it doesn't really do a lot new besides breaking into 4K.
It's just another Forza game.
It's just another really solid Forza entry, and it's so similar. I may not buy another numbered entry for a while. I may be more of a Horizon guy at this point, but. They're all feeling a little too samey at this point. So I would probably count that against it and keep it at 4 like you have it there.
Did anybody play Tacoma?
I was going to ask Kyle. You said you can speak to it a little bit. What can you tell us about Tacoma?
It's just I believe it's some of the same people who did Gone Home. So I mean, like that's kind of the game that you're looking at. Where you're just walking around, picking up stuff, solving little riddles, and getting kind of ambient storytelling. It takes place on a space station, I believe.
The art style is really unique, right? With kind of like almost like constellation.
Yeah.
Like each person looks a little like a
exactly, and they kind of have like a aura or a glow to them. It's a cool little game. It's one now that my Xbox is kind of up and running again. I'm gonna get actually into. It's one I was keeping an eye on for a while, but kind of locked behind a system for a bit.
The makers have Gone Home.
Yep.
Makers have Gone Home. I'm gonna go ahead and get on the Xbox store and gift this to Derek real quick.
Awesome. I know he'll love it. He loves Gone Home.
Oh yeah. I already bought it.
All right, so
you can gift it to me twice.
So right now, based on, and I knew this would be one of the shortest conversations of all of our debates. Right now, we've got PUBG, Cuphead, Halo Wars 2, Forza 7, and Tacoma in that order for the best 5 Microsoft games, with the caveat that none of us played Candleman and none of us played Super Lucky's Tale. If we did, we'd probably just slot those in right behind their 6 and 7, not knowing if they're good or not, right? I do know that Candleman got pretty good reviews on Metacritic, so
looks good.
It's like in the right around 80, I think, on Metacritic.
I'll have to look it up. I've never even heard of it, or maybe I'll look at a picture of it.
How does a game like that go under the radar so low? Like that's crazy to me.
All right, no,
especially when the console doesn't have very many exclusives.
Zing exclusives from the mountaintops at this point. Microsoft.
It actually like not something I would play, but as far as like how it looks, it's really pretty.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
It looks good.
Oh wow, yeah.
Only $11 right now, so
it's not. It's coming to PC in January. It says.
So even though cool. Candleman is getting no love on our list, we're giving it love to the listeners who might go buy it. So there you go.
Yeah. If you have an Xbox, go buy it because you got nothing else to buy.
It's cool. Nate Bacon, go check that out.
Exactly. All right. So there is your best Microsoft games of the year. This is, of course, not including multi-platform games. We know there are plenty of options there.
Yep.
But our list is number 5, Tacoma. Number 4, Forza Motorsport 7. Number 3, Halo Wars 2. Number 2 is Cuphead. In a very close race for the top 2, it's PUBG. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds wins first place. And that's really only because it just came out on the Xbox only. I don't think it's going to be a permanent exclusive. But hey, neither was Rise of the Tomb Raider, and we still included that as a Microsoft exclusive back in 2015. So them's the breaks. All right, so there you go. There's your best Microsoft game of 2017, according to this brilliant panel here on Fathers of the Grind. All right, let's move along to a little more challenging category, and this is best Nintendo game. Now, some people might say, well, the top two are pretty obvious. Maybe. But let's talk through this a little bit, and we got to figure out how we narrow this down. There's a lot of games I could include that are kind of smaller indie games that were just on mobile or PC that came to Switch, but they're not worth putting on here because I know we'll just kick them right back off. Yeah. So I only nominated games that I thought had a shot at making the top 10. Feel free, you guys, to add some additional ones in there. But Kyle, why don't you read off the nominees we've got so far for us for Best Nintendo Game of the Year?
Sure, absolutely. We have ARMS, Fire Emblem Warriors, Golf Story, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Metroid Samus Returns, Monster Hunter Stories, Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment, Snipper Clips, Splatoon 2, Super Mario Odyssey, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Voez? Is that right?
Sure.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and The End is Nigh.
I would add Fire Emblem.
I would add Fire Emblem as well. What is it? Shadow of... What was it?
Valentia Echoes.
Yeah, I would absolutely add it on there.
Okay, so that was enough of a different game that people don't consider that a remake, right? People consider that its own
completely
game.
From the ground up remade. Like, from the old game, like, that it's a remake from. Like, it kind of feels like the series does now, but, like, that's not how the game played back then, you know? It's just completely made it from the ground up.
It's now a first-person shooter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. In space.
Competitive, yeah.
Okay. All right. I was gonna add a game, Tiny Metal, that just came out because it's basically Advance Wars, but I'm pretty sure it's multi-platform, so I don't think I can add it.
It is
multi-platform.
It's gotta be. Yeah, it's on PS4. Also.
Yeah, I think it's on. But so there you go. There's just a shout out to people who, if you like Advance Wars, if you like the grid-based strategy games, go check out Tiny Metal. It's basically Advance Wars, and I think it's on multiple systems and definitely on PC already.
You can gift it to me, and I'll ignore it if you'd like.
All right, good to know. All right, so there's the list we've got so far, and if you didn't figure this out already, we are including both Switch and 3DS titles together as opposed to having two separate lists. A lot of those games have some similarities, and really they're both handhelds if you think about it. It's just that one can launch up onto the big screen. So I think kind of comparable in some ways. So let's go ahead and kick a few games off here, and I'll get us started and suggest that we kick off Voez, the rhythm game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. Again, this one got great reviews. I do believe it's on mobile and possibly PC as well. Got great reviews. If you like rhythm games, go check it out. But I don't think any of us played it, and I don't think it would make top 10 anyway. So there you go.
And again, no one's played The End is Nigh besides me, I'm assuming. I just wanted to bring it up because that game's awesome, and it's a Switch, I guess, console exclusive. But yeah, just wanted to.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's on PC and Switch right now. That's it,
cool.
And it's really awesome. It's by the same guy who made Binding of Isaac and Super Meat Boy and all that stuff.
Wow,
Those like games where you sit down, you play forever, over and over and over. You know what I mean? Like those kinds of games. So yeah, just wanted to give it some love.
So a game I would never touch. Got
probably not, Derek. Yeah, probably not. It's like brutally hard too. So.
Ooh, yeah. I hate hard games. So.
Well, before we get rid of The End is Nigh, is there anything else on the list above that is an obvious boot?
I've played Monster Hunter Stories. I don't know if you have. Game's fine. I played just the demo, but the demo you can put 2 or 3 hours into before, and then you can transfer it to the main game. And I was like, I don't think I will. No thanks.
If I can get End is Nigh in there at 10, I'll do it. I just didn't think it was a possibility, but. We'll see.
Well, I just want to make sure that there's no, like, Monster Hunter Stories sounds like a good example of one that maybe not worth the top 10.
Sure.
It's not top 10 for me. I haven't played it, and I don't care about it.
It's Pokemon. That's what it is. It's Pokemon Monster Hunter.
These need to be top 10 for somebody, right, in order to really fight for them. So, like, Splatoon 2, there's part of me that's thinking it deserves a top 10 spot for best Nintendo game. Although I don't care about it. I played the demo. It's not my thing.
I think
but
Rudy
it's got to be
likes
top
it.
10.
It was weird. I played the first one, really enjoyed it. Played the multiplayer for a long time. I bought this one, and I played it once, and And that's not like me at all. I know.
No, I figured you would be into it more. What about you, Kyle? Did you buy Splatoon 2?
I don't like Splatoon. I think it's real weird, not for me.
Yeah,
get it out of here.
If I'm the only fan, and I didn't even like Splatoon 2 that much then.
Well, let's just pretend that we were down to Splatoon 2 and End is Nigh for a last spot. Rudy, would you put End is Nigh in over Splatoon 2?
100%, yeah.
Wow, okay. There you go. The remaining games, well, I haven't played Fire Emblem Echoes, but I do love pretty much all Fire Emblem games, but I haven't played that one in particular, and I also haven't played Fire Emblem Warriors. I know they're very different games, but, kind of a shared universe in some ways. Mm-hmm. Do we keep both of those on the top 10? Are they both that good?
To me, they are.
Yeah, I think they're both pretty good and very different. I wouldn't hate getting rid of one of them, if we were trying to. I mean, we're going to have to start cutting stuff at some point, but
yeah,
I think they're different enough where they can kind of, stand on their own.
Well, you guys have played, Kyle and Derek, you guys have played Warriors, the only ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they're both saying top 10 for that one.
Okay.
Yeah, for Nintendo, out of these games, yeah, it's fun.
Okay, Tim, how about ARMS? I know you enjoy that game, but is it a top 10 for you?
Well, I haven't played the Fire Emblem games, so when you cut those two out, and I haven't played End is Nigh, but I've played the rest. So yes, it would make my top 10 because it would be toward the bottom though. It'd be like maybe 9.
What about Shovel Knight? I know Tim likes it, but does anybody else want to keep it?
Does that count?
Played that one yet.
Oh, that's
I think
I like them.
I think Spectre of Torment is currently exclusive, but I could be wrong on that. But since Shovel Knight itself is a multi-platform game, that one to me makes the most sense to get rid of. Okay. As long as the communication has been very clear to anyone who likes side scrollers, especially old school ones, go get this game. It's really, really good.
Yeah, the whole series.
But
is awesome.
It feels a little strange to keep it on the best Nintendo game list, even if it is still timed exclusive. I honestly can't remember off the top of my head if it's come out on other platforms yet or not. I can't remember. So let's get rid of that one. Okay. Clear up one spot.
Oh man, I'm so close, but I don't see how this is gonna happen now.
With End is Nigh?
I think it's between the End is Nigh or a Fire Emblem game.
I say you either cut Echoes or End is Nigh, and really End is Nigh got legacy with the developer that did it. So I know who the developer is, and I'm probably gonna go and buy the game right after we end this.
Oh man, you'll love it
because I had no idea that was the case. So I wouldn't mind keeping that on there and getting rid of Echoes if Derek's okay with that.
Talk about Echoes real quick, Derek and Kyle. Is it? I know that it's a little more old school.
It is.
And after Awakening and Fate, which had tons of all these extra little systems in there and really kind of blew open the genre with all the relationships and all the different ways you can level up and all the side stuff you can do, does Echoes get up to the quality of Fates and Awakening, or is it really a totally different experience? And is it really top 10 material?
See, I would rather play Awakening. I mean, I think that by the time that Awakening came out, you have everything that the game has, that all the mechanics have been building towards. Whereas they try and plug as much as they can into Echoes. Where I miss the rock paper scissors system, and I miss some of the other stuff that they just strip out of that game. And I didn't beat that game, whereas I did beat Awakening. Again, that's just speaking from my personal experience. So I would say that it's maybe not as good as I would say some of the other ones in the series, but it's still great. But
yeah, it's still a great game. I mean, for me, it's not even a debate. Obviously, I have to debate because there's 3 other people, but I'm always going to take Fire Emblem over The End is Nigh. The End is Nigh does not look at all remotely interesting. So it's not going to be something I would fight for. In fact, I would kick snipper clips off, but I know you guys like snipper clips.
I couldn't take that one off over that. Listen, if I'm the only one...
Wrong, fake news.
I'll just say this before we let it go. That game is really smart. It's got a tons of secrets. It can go from a 10-hour game to a 100-hour game if you want, because there's so much to do.
Hang on, it's not a done deal yet, though, man.
Okay.
It's not a done deal. So Derek's voting for Echoes to stay on. It's a fair vote. It's the one he's played and the one he cares about. Kyle, are you leaning one way or the other? Rudy's obviously picking End is Nigh. Which way are you leaning on that one?
I mean, I could really go either way. I hate to be so wishy-washy, but I would choose Echoes to play because I'm Fire Emblem ride or die type of guy. But the End is Nigh. I love that dev studio. So it's definitely one I'm going to check out.
So from the outside looking in, I look at the End is Nigh, and it kind of looks like the games from the guys who made World of Goo and that kind of stuff in one way. It also looks a little bit like that mobile game Tumbleweed, Was it called
Oh,
Tumbleweed?
wait, there's like a.
Either Tumble. Oh no. The one where you tap the screen to stay floating and you can keep getting bigger and bigger. I forget what it's
Oh,
called.
I know what you're talking about. I just don't remember the name. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It looked a lot like here's the short version. It looks a lot like other indie games I've seen before. It didn't look that unique.
Sure.
I'm not saying it's not fun to
Sure,
play.
sure.
This isn't just about visuals. This is about the overall game. It didn't look that original, so that to me is a little knock against it. Although I do like
it's mostly like Super Meat Boy, to be honest. That's the most.
I like the pedigree of the other games they've made.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if I had to knock Fire Emblem here Echoes, it's only because of things I've read and heard secondhand.
All right.
You know, they took away some systems. Wait, one more quick thing.
No.
It is technically a remake.
Oh.
So to me, that's a major knock against it, and I think Enda's Nye should be in the top 10.
All right, well, I don't care about your opinion. I went to Metacritic, and Fire Emblem is an 81, and the Enda's Nye is a 74 and 79. Or I'm sorry, a 79 on the Switch.
All right, well, we fought a good fight. It's okay.
All right, Enda's Nye is gone.
Kyle, check that game out, man.
In my opinion, it's a remake,
In
so
my
it should go away.
I have weird rules like that too. I don't allow stuff like that on my list.
First of all, that sounds nothing like me.
It's a remake. We should just get rid of it.
It's a collection.
It's fake news.
No, I have the
shouldn't
same
be
rules.
on there.
I have the same rules. Tim, you have to
Why
live
do
by
I
your
sound
rules,
like a
all right?
whiny, smaller version of Trump? All right.
Metroid should be in question too, even though I don't want it.
Exactly,
Oh,
exactly,
man.
and I
Okay,
have
well.
no emotional tie to Metroid, so
Dude,
just
Samus
be quiet,
Returns is
That game's
get
amazing.
rid of
game.
Enda's Nye, and let me have my way.
It's okay. Get it out of here. It's still
All right.
awesome.
All right. Can we put Echoes at number 10 then?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
Come on.
Well, I fought that hard, yeah, just put it at 10.
All right, we're down to 10 games now. We've got ARMS, Fire Emblem Warriors, Fire Emblem Echoes, Golf Story, Mario plus Rabbids, Metroid: Samus Returns, Snipper Clips, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as our nominees that remain for our top 10. We're throwing Fire Emblem Echoes in the number 10 spot for now, simply because it barely made the cut, and if we're going to stick with that kind of logic, that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's start talking through where some of the other games here rank. I'm going to go ahead and take Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, and Xenoblade and just kind of put them in the top 5 for right now because I know they're going to be top 5. At least I think they will be. And then we'll kind of work through the other ones first before we go through those.
I think Snipper Clips should be 9, but you all have to fight for it.
I listen. I just said earlier I don't really like puzzle games. This fits into that, so I'm with Derek. We can put that at 9. That'd be
I think Snipper Clips and Golf Story need to be one. In either 9, 10, or 10 or 9. Oh, excuse me, 9,
right, well,
9 and 8, and 8 and 9. One of those two.
Yeah, I agree with Rudy.
Unless
I think
ARMS,
Golf Story should.
I don't know.
I think Golf Story should go above Snipper Clips
Same.
and ARMS actually. So
Okay.
I think ARMS belongs down there in maybe the 9 spot with Snipper Clips right above it, and then Golf Story at 7.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Because by the way, Golf Story, super fun little game, even for people who don't love indies. Derek, I'm being very serious. We've talked about this. A super fun little arcade golf game with some very clever writing.
And I feel like Fire Emblem Warriors fits at the 6th spot.
I think that's
And then
good.
we can debate the top 5 from there.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I think Rabbids needs to be right behind those first 3 heavy hitters. That's
Rabbids is top 5 for me for sure.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, so put Warriors at 6.
Maybe Metroid at 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metroid's awesome. That was good.
So you guys played Warriors, especially you, Kyle. You've played both.
Yeah.
Which one would you put higher, Warriors or Metroid?
Oh man.
And I know they're tough to compare, but I have played a good amount of Metroid. Samus Returns.
Samus Returns is one of the best remakes ever. I mean, it's so
not,
good.
Not even remakes. It's just flat out one of the best Metroid games ever. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it plays wonderfully.
Yeah, it
Put
feels
it at
good
the
to
5
play.
spot.
I was mad it wasn't on my Switch, but that's okay. I could bust out the 3DS for that.
So it stays above Warriors then. Huh?
Well, and that's my issue with Fire Emblem Echoes. Like, I would probably be talking about it as a top 5 game if it's on the Switch.
Yeah, I know, and it's another thing.
Totally.
I had
Same thing with Metroid, man.
I mean, you're absolutely right. All these games deserve to be on the Switch. Just cut it out, Nintendo.
Yeah, stop screwing around.
Probably another year of 3DS support, and then probably die off, I think.
That sounds
all right. So I think we all seem to be agreeing, which is nice, that we've got 5 as Metroid, 4 is going to be Mario plus Rabbids. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw out my top 3, and then you guys will throw out your top 3 and see if we can figure out who
Fair enough.
gets the most votes.
Commonality.
I'm going to go with Super Mario Odyssey is going to be my 3. Like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is going to be my 2, and then Zelda is my 1.
Okay. I'll go next, I guess.
Yeah.
And remember, I just want to preface this by saying I haven't played a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 yet. What I played, I do really enjoy. But from what I played, I would put Xenoblade 3, Odyssey 2, and Zelda 1.
What about you, Kyle?
Mine would be similar to Derek's. It would be Odyssey at 3, Xenoblade at 2, Zelda at 1.
Ooh,
So we have a consensus that Zelda was the best Nintendo exclusive of the year.
That's why I wanted to do this. Yeah.
Best
game.
Best game of the year, too.
These two, so Super Mario Odyssey and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, are really tough for me to choose between. They are so different from each other. There's almost no comparison except that there's a jump button in both. That's really the only similarity. They both have great music, right? We talked about music a few conversations ago. So this is a tough one for me. I think Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the best RPG of the year. It's my favorite RPG that came out this year. Just straight up, old school RPG style, even though it does have more of an active battle than old school RPGs. And Mario Odyssey is, in my opinion, the best 3D platformer that's ever been released. Yeah. And I'm someone who Super Mario 64 is in my top 7 of all time, something like that. Wow. And I think Mario Odyssey finally captures that same magic of 64 and brings it into the HD realm. So I'm really having trouble determining which one goes above which. Sounds like Rudy put Odyssey above Xenoblade, and you guys put Xenoblade above Odyssey. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you're the deciding vote. If you tie, then Metacritic's going to support Mario Odyssey.
Well, I don't know how many hours I'm into it now, but I'm in Chapter 4 of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 right now, and it's one of the coolest games I've played. So that's number 2 for me. I think it's the second best Switch game by a hair over Mario Odyssey.
Wow, I'm surprised by that. I expected you to pick Mario, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If I did, it'd be an instant win, right? Because that'd be the Metacritic.
Yeah, that's what I said. If you agreed with Rudy, Mario was going to go in 2 because Metacritic supports Mario.
And let's not. And this is encouraging for me because the fact that you guys all picked that over and the only person who didn't was the one who didn't play it much really makes me think this game's going to be awesome. And I really.
So the caveat I have to give, I don't know if you guys heard this earlier or not, is that this game isn't for everybody, right? Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is not. It's not a game that is going to be best overall for everybody. I think popular opinion would, of course, be Mario Odyssey. It's much more accessible, and it does everything, in my opinion, perfectly as far as platformers go. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, on the other hand, in my opinion, breaks new ground in a whole bunch of different ways with RPGs, especially with Nintendo RPGs. And I think it proves that this system, just like in the same way Zelda did, it proves this system can do some really special, brand new things. So I give the edge to Xenoblade, and so that's my pick.
I want to make sure
for right now
people understand, like our listeners, this isn't a knock on Super Mario Odyssey at all because I'm not a Mario fanboy, but Mario Odyssey was the most fun I've had with a Mario game in probably since Super Mario, probably Sunshine. I didn't get into Galaxy. I never got past like 2 or 3 planets in both the Galaxy games. This is the first one that hooked me right away, and I was able to enjoy it with my daughter. But at the end of the day, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is not only fun to play, it takes me back to like Final Fantasy X days, so it has, I guess in a way, some nostalgia going for it for me personally. Yeah.
The N-word, not the one you're thinking of.
Because it does remind me of like how
Did you
cool
just say the N-word?
The N-word. The bad N-word. But it takes me back, and I really like the parties and all that.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Oh,
Derek was making an excellent, actually pretty poignant point, and Rudy derails us with the N-word. All right.
White boys dropping the N-word. What a terrible person.
Even though you didn't actually say anything bad there, I'm actually going to bleep you out, like unnecessary censorship moment.
Do it.
I'll be like...
And then John Martin's gonna file a case against me. Like, I'm guessing he used a different.
I'll be like, John, I'm allowed to say it. Okay, I can get away with it. Right?
Well, then I'm gonna have. I still have this picture of Al Sharpton. He'll just come in off screen like this. He'll just come fun.
He used the N-word.
Yeah. All right. God. So we have our top 10 of Nintendo games. This has been one of Nintendo's best years for exclusives.
Yes, I love this year. It's so awesome. The fact that we can kick Splatoon 2 off our list completely tells you how great this year is, because even though none of us are really fans of the well, I know Rudy is, even though he hasn't played it a
I
lot.
was a fan of the first
Fans
one.
of the Splatoon games, it's still a quality game. Like, it's not a bad game. It's a good big release for Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't talk about Mario plus Rabbids much in depth, although we have talked about it in previous discussions. Basically, the rundown on that is it's a fantastic turn-based strategy game, a la XCOM, as you guys have heard us talk about. Super charming, hilarious, beautiful to look at, great music, just a top-notch delivery from Ubisoft teaming up with Nintendo on that one. Really surprising game. So that's why that one's at number 4 over some of these other awesome games. So let me run through the list, unless you guys have any last-minute comments or suggestions.
Well, I just have one last comment about you guys saying possibly their best year ever. And let's not forget, this is a year that's only 3 quarters. It came out in March.
Yeah.
So imagine we had another 3 months. I mean, who knows what else we could have got, you know?
Yep. The only there's 2 3DS games on our list. One of them came out in May. The other one came out in September. So yes, before March there was nothing.
Yeah.
It all started on March 3rd.
Pretty interested to see how they're going to pull it off next year. So
Me too.
Very interesting.
I'm very much looking forward to. There's rumors of a Nintendo Direct in January. I hope that's true because I'm really looking forward to see what they've got next. All right, so here is our top 10 Nintendo games of 2017. Starting at number 10, we have Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, the remake for the 3DS, ARMS, Snipperclips, Golf Story, Fire Emblem Warriors, Metroid Samus Returns at number 5, Mario plus Rabbids, and then our top 3, Super Mario Odyssey at number 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is our number 2, and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which, weirdly enough, we actually haven't talked about a ton, but when we get to Best Overall Game, we're going to talk about this game a lot. So suffice to say, if for some reason any of our listeners are like, but you guys didn't make a case for that, that's because this game is so good. It was pretty much a non-issue when it comes to Best Nintendo Game. It will be something we talk about with Best Overall Game. That's going to be very interesting. So there you go. I'm not assuming it's our best overall game, but I did assume it's going to be our best Nintendo game.
Good list.
Great list.
Very good list. Great year for Nintendo. And there's lots of other games, too, that we didn't talk about, but that are really fun, whether they're re-releases from other systems or whatever. There's lots of good stuff there. All right. Can we dive into Sony? Do you guys got time to do this one?
Yeah, I do.
Totally.
I have time.
Let's do this thing. Sony also had an amazing year. You might make the argument that this is one of Sony's best years ever. They had a fantastic year of exclusive releases as well. So you guys can see the list there. Feel free to add to it as you want. By the way, while you guys look at this list, you guys on the panel, for you listeners, I'm going to read off some of our community wins for some of these categories. I think we already talked about how favorite family game from the community was Mario Odyssey. Best Microsoft game from the community was Cuphead, which we picked at number 2, so pretty close. And best Nintendo game, overwhelmingly, of course, Zelda Breath of the Wild won there as well. So let's jump into best Sony game of the year. Anything on this list before we go through it? I think I'm going to have Rudy read off this list. Anything to add, though, before we do that?
I don't think so.
All right, you keep thinking about it while Rudy reads off the best Sony game nominees so far.
Okay, best Sony game. We got Everybody's Golf, Gravity Rush 2, Hellblade / Hell Trash, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh my gosh.
I had to say it. Horizon Zero Dawn, Knack 2, MLB The Show, Nex Machina, Nier Automata, Neo, Persona 5, Pyre, Sundered, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and Yakuza 0.
Yakuza.
All
right. Anything else that we're missing from this list?
I can't think of anything else. Hold on.
Wasn't there a Gran Turismo game?
Ooh, GT Sport.
But I don't think it would even have a chance.
I have such a bad. Oh no, leave it off.
I bought it, and I have not enjoyed it at all.
Yes, because they sold you half a game. They sold you 50 cars, 3 tracks, and
Kyle's passionate about this one.
Oh man, don't get me started. I love it.
I feel the same way. It's not a good game.
Yeah.
How about Tales of Berseria?
Oh yeah. I don't know if it'll make top 10, but that's a great game. Yeah.
Okay.
Add it on there.
I would list it for sure.
Yeah, I'd list it.
Add it on there so we can make sure we talk about it. Sorry for leaving that one off. It's one I have not played, and it came out in January, I think, right?
Yeah.
So that came out really early in the year.
It's on PC too.
Okay. All right, so we're adding Tales of Berseria to the list to make sure it gets considered. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and start thinking through games to eliminate. I just want to be very clear. I'm not going to suggest we remove this one. I just haven't played it, and I'm curious if you guys have. Everybody's Golf got a ton of love from people, and it's one that I meant to get and play. I just haven't gotten around to yet. Have you guys played it at all?
Haven't played it, no.
I have not played this, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say I have a theory about this game, okay? And this is coming from a place of ignorance because, again, I haven't played it. I've just seen videos, reviews. I think this game is getting way more love because it's a PlayStation exclusive. I don't think this is as amazing as everyone makes it sound. So that's my
I think it's the
that's my hot take.
Sony ponies.
Get your tinfoil hats out. Yeah.
I think it's the Sony ponies who were jealous they didn't get Golf Story. They were like, we got a golf game.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, we have avatars we can make. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't buy it.
I have no feelings towards this game at all.
All right, well then I'm going to say, I wasn't suggesting it before, but now I'm thinking we need to take it off the top 10 list.
It's got to go.
All right, the next one that jumps out to me is one that was nominated for possibly one of the worst games of the year, and that's Knack 2, mainly because it sounds like it didn't do a lot to improve, and we all know that Knack 1 was underwhelming.
And what is with the internet pretending that this is like a good series? Like, I missed the boat on this. I don't.
I'm with you.
I don't get the joke or whatever. These games are really bad. We should stop talking about them. We got a second one because everyone like talked about the first one in a joking manner. You know, like.
Has anyone?
I think Sony screwed up reading. I think they kind of understood Knack, and that it sold actually quite well. But I think it's because it was a launch game. It's the only reason why I bought it.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked it. I think it was actually the first game I beat this generation. I actually played through the whole thing, and I walked away from it going, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. And then when Knack 2 came out, I was like, with all these other games coming out, I was like, there's no chance I'm buying this game. Like, there's no shot. And they even lowered it to $40, which means, and Rudy knows this, that you can go to Best Buy and get it for $32. $32 on day one. And I'm like, I'm still not going to buy this game.
All right. I need to say a little bit about this game, okay? So, this game, kind of how Derek said, when my PS4 came out, I kind of was just one of the other people getting. I wasn't even that excited for PS4, but I was like, let me just grab Killzone, Shadowfall, and Knack. I played Knack. I thought it was fine. It wasn't as bad as everyone says. It wasn't as. I don't think anyone says it's really good. But anyway, so when Knack 2, I got an email one day saying Knack 2 is shipped, and I'm like, wait a sec, I forgot all about this. I must have just like done a thing where pre-order a bunch of games from Best Buy. They charge your credit card, then they drop it, and then they charge you as they come out. So I thought, okay, it's already shipped. Might as well play it, and it was fine. It was fun. It's better than Knack 1, and it was a decent platform. They added a few extra things in. In no way, shape, or form do I think it's top 10 Sony game, but I don't think it's nearly as bad. I don't know where that joke came from, but it's not that.
So bad. Knack to me always played like a mascot, like movie licensed platformer. You know, the kind of thing you'd get from Big Hero 6 or Kung Fu Panda or something like that.
Sure.
So if you think about it that way, it's fine. Like, I remember playing Kung Fu Panda back on the 360. We rented it with my kids and played it. Like, games like that, when they used to do a lot of licensed games for movies and stuff, it was fine. Like, you didn't expect a lot from it. There were very few exceptions over the years, things like Aladdin that are, you know, much beloved, even though it's based on a movie. But for the most part, those games are expected to be between the 5 and 7 on the review scale range, right? And so I think Knack 2 falls in that category. There's too many other good ones that all of us are going to fight for. So I'm taking it off the list.
Good. And I will buy Knack 2 when it's $10 and under.
And has
I will not be a part of this problem. That's how you get Knack 3, guys. All right.
Wait, Derek.
That's how Knack 3
when Sony allows us to gift games, I will gift Knack 2 to Kyle as well, just to make sure we get Knack 3.
I need to block Derek. This is great.
Wait, hold on, guys. One more thing I forgot to mention about Knack 2 that actually bumps it up a little bit. Not keeping on the list, but I just wanted to mention it has a co-op mode and it's really well done. So that's a
big selling point.
It's
couch co-op from start to finish is so rare
maybe,
and is a big selling point.
Yeah.
So maybe it would have made top 10 for family and kids games, and that you can play multiplayer, but definitely not best Sony exclusives. All right.
Get out of here.
All right, so that one's out. How many of you played Gravity Rush 2, and is that worthy of a top 10 spot?
Gravity Rush 2 is awesome, and if everyone here hasn't played it, come on, guys. That's why we're not getting Gravity Rush 3. You know? So
It's
a great series.
$20 right now, so I'll let Tim, who likes to apparently waste money, as he's proven by his post of Switch purchases,
so many
to
good
go
games.
on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah,
buy Gravity Rush 2 so I can play.
It's a cool superhero story. You know, like the first game is an origin story, and you know, of her finding her powers, and like the second game is like she's really coming to her own, and it's so delightfully.
Is it fun to play though?
Yeah,
like,
it's so fun to play. Yeah,
fun?
The gameplay is unique, and there's nothing like it, and it is fun. Absolutely.
Okay.
Does it play like the first one?
Does it play like the first one? It plays like a really, really smooth version of the first one, like not a handheldy feeling version of the first one. Yeah, it feels like a real game. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a port. You know, like
let's come back to that one. Kyle, we're not going to let Hellblade slide off this list, right?
No,
we're going to fight for that
one.
Top 10.
No, I'm not going to say that. Well,
I would 100% say get that game off my game.
I know you would. I know you would.
Stupid.
I assume we all agree that Horizon deserves a spot in the top 10. Yes.
I'm going to vote that it's in the top 3.
Okay. Yeah, MLB This Show, just based on the love it's gotten from community and the reviews that it got, I would feel bad kicking it off unless you guys feel like, hey, just the panel of 4, we don't need it on here.
It's just
what do you
not.
think?
It's just not our thing.
Yeah, it's not our thing.
Not a sports panel.
If none of us played it, we can say it's a good game and then get it out of here.
Yeah,
okay.
I think credits due where it's due. It sounds like it's a really solid entry. Go play that game if you like MLB, but. Yeah,
we don't care about it.
It's not going to make my top 10 list.
It's our list, so it doesn't make sense to me.
It is. That's true.
You shouldn't bend to their will.
All right, let's make this list great again. All right, so Rudy, what about Nex Machina? You fought for this one earlier with some style stuff. This deserves a spot in the top 10, you think?
Man, it's a hard one.
So I've heard. Let me just, while you gather your thoughts, I've heard multiple different versions of this. Of course, one is that it's amazing, it's housemark, it's beautiful. You have to go play it. And I've heard others say that it actually wears out its welcome without, not too far into the game.
Right.
It becomes really repetitive, and it doesn't have the same. It doesn't carry the same weight as something like Resogun. I don't know if weight's the right word, but it's not quite as good as some of their past work. Mm-hmm. So, do you think Nex Machina is one of the best 10 this year? Like, would it go up against, Yakuza 0 and Tales of Berseria, based on what you know?
Well, first of all, I'll say that I think the way you said some people talk about, like, Resogun and those other games, I thought those games were fine, but I think this is much better. I don't think Resogun is the best PlayStation game for a year and a half or whatever that everyone was saying, which I think is crazy.
It's crazy.
That was because Colin was...
Yeah, because Colin got his minions spread that one around.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. But, no, I think Nex Machina is better, and the reason why is it's a short game, but it's got. Hey, can you hold on a second, please? Hold on. It's got replayability and a lot of variables to keep it going. But is it as good as some of these other? Only one.
And she's coughing.
I don't know. I haven't played Yakuza or Tales of Berseria, so it's hard for me to say. I think it's good, but I'll let you guys kind of weigh in on it too. Has anyone else played it at all, or?
I haven't.
No.
It looks awesome.
It's one I'm going to get to because I do like House Marquee, even though I think Resogun is very whelming at best. Definitely not best of the year type
I think this is much better. I think much better than that.
But if you're saying this is even better than Resogun, we shouldn't kick it off just yet until we make sure that we've got a case for everything else. I won't let Nier slip off this list. I think it deserves a spot in the top 10.
Absolutely.
I think Neo on gameplay alone, even though you guys said the story doesn't really carry, on gameplay alone and just the depth of the mechanics in that game, I think that deserves a spot in the top 10. Persona 5 is an obvious top 10. We'll pause on talking about that one. Then we get to games like Pyre and Sundered. They're indie games. They're smaller. They really only have support of a couple of us. So, like, 3 of us played Pyre. Yeah, Rudy's going to fight for Pyre. I'm guessing you would let go of Nex Machina over Pyre, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Get that child a cough drop. Also, we've got Sundered.
You're making me sound like I'm letting you sit here.
Sundered is one that I will fight for, but I'm the only one. I've tried to win you guys over to it a bit, but I'm highly doubting any of you have played it since the last time we talked.
Get it out of here. Get it out of here.
It's so good, but that one might have to go.
Look, Rudy is gone right now. Get rid of Nex Machina now. Get rid of it. He's not here to defend it. He can keep his Pyra. I won't get rid of Pyra, but get rid of Nex Machina. And get rid of Sundered.
I want to hold off on Sundered. Is Tales of Berseria really that good of an RPG? Is it
In my
is
opinion,
top 10?
it's the best Tales game.
Yeah, it's definitely the best Tales game, and you're playing as the bad guys, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Well, you're not playing as good people, should I say? I guess you're not like playing like as completely.
It's the darkest. It's the darkest Tales game you'll ever play. Like,
yeah, you're definitely not the heroes of the story. Let's just say
the main character that you're playing is out for revenge, and she's not nice.
Oh, and she will do anything to get her revenge. Oh, it's good. It's good stuff.
So Uncharted Lost Legacy needs to stay on the list. It's one of the best of the year, and it is a standalone game in my opinion. But what about Yakuza 0? This is one that I think I could put up against Sundered, and I think Sundered is a better game based on what I know of Yakuza 0, but prove me wrong. Tell me that Yakuza 0 deserves a spot in top 10 of the year.
I mean, Yakuza 0 is one of the finest stories and games that you can find. Every single one of these games delivers like top-notch storytelling. You're going to get your silly moments, you're going to get your drama moments, you're going to get your grab your tissue moments too. It's just a really involving story. This is as good as any place to start also because this game has been going on for so long. I think a lot of people have just spectated the game in a very voyeuristic way. Like, oh, I can't get into it now. It's number 4 is releasing. Well, now this is 0, and they're re-releasing all the games all over again in the new engine. So it's like now's the best time than ever to come out with this or to get into this series. And it's just filled to the brim with just stuff to do. Like you could do. Like, if you thought, like, GTA 4 side stuff was obnoxious, where you're like, oh, like, my buddy's calling me to go on a date at the bowling ring or whatever, like, this game is just filled with stuff like that, where you're going to the arcade, you're going to hostesses bars, you're running a real estate agency, while you're running, like, a hostess bar as well, it's just, like, there's all this stuff going on. It's really dense. You can put a lot of hours into it. I don't really know anything about Sundered, so I can't really make comparisons.
And how does the driving, fighting, shooting play in Yakuza 0?
So there is no real there's no driving. It's Tokyo,
okay.
So it's just you're walking and you're in these kind of smaller areas. There may be
so navigation in general.
There may be segments where you're like in a car shooting and stuff like that, but like there's no real like driving mechanics, if you will, not in this particular game.
What about navigation and
navigation's
fighting,
awesome.
Like
moving around the city is really good. And it's been a long time. It's like back in the day, I could like memorize GTA 3 and Vice City's maps. Like, oh, if I go down this alleyway, this will be here, this will be here. And it's been a long time since I've been able to do that. In this game, I am able to do that. Everything's really memorable. All the streets are really memorable, and the HUD and everything helps you get to where you need to be pretty easily. On top of that, like we don't get beat 'em ups like this anymore. Like this is an old school like beat 'em up where they're just you're going into like a kill box and a bunch of people are just coming in there and you're just beating the crap out of them with anything you can find, whether it be like a wrench or a bicycle or whatever. It's zany.
So
it's zany,
the main
reason
the main reason I'm asking you about this stuff, Kyle, is because we've got 2 games, Gravity Rush 2 and Yakuza 0, that really only you can champion. We've got one that really only I can champion, and Sundered.
I'll champion Yakuza 0. I might not be far into
Rush
it
for Yakuza,
but I've played the series and I've played enough of Yakuza 0's beginning to agree that the story is kind of what hooks you, and it is a silly, over-the-top game that has serious drama, but some of the best parts of it is just the gameplay. Like going and beating up all these thugs
feels good.
Fun. Yeah.
But I would get rid of Gravity Rush 2 over Yakuza 0 if you want to keep Sundered, because I mean
I'm willing to get rid of Sundered as well. Just make sure everybody understands that. I will not play
You never played it.
I did play it. You bought it. I played it. I will fight to get rid of it. I promise you that.
Ouch.
All right, so I'm going to go to Metacritic for the split between Gravity Rush 2 and Sundered, since those are kind of at the bottom of this list right now.
And
Gravity Rush 2 wins by 6.
Really?
It has 80. Sundered is at Sundered's at a 74.
There you go.
So there you go. So Sundered is out, much to my dismay, but that is the way.
I've never seen someone fight to remove a game. I've seen someone fight to keep a game, but that is the first fight to remove a game.
That's Derek for you.
Get it out of here.
All right.
Listen,
all right.
I can't help it. Tim has bad taste that even Metacritic agrees with me. They're like, really? Sundered? You're going to fight for Sundered? Like, who cares about Sundered? I feel like he should go on Giant Bomb. Like, you belong on Giant Bomb.
Oh, stop it. I do not. Stop it. All right, so we've got our 10 nominees for Best Sony Game of the Year. Gravity Rush 2, Hellblade, Horizon, Nier, Neo, Persona 5, Pyre, Tales of Berseria, Uncharted The Lost Legacy, and Yakuza 0.
Oh, wait, I had to step away for a second. Is this the final order?
This is no.
No.
These are our nominees. We're getting ready.
I was gonna say, what the hell happened while I walked away?
as soon as you walked away, Derek goes, Rudy's gone. Let's kick out Nex Machina.
That's okay, as long as it wasn't Pyre.
So it's gone, and we kept Pyre, because I agree with you. Pyre deserves to be on this list.
All right, sweet.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that Tales of Berseria and Gravity Rush 2 are going to have to be in the bottom
10 and 9, yeah. I put Berseria at 10 and Gravity Rush 2 at 9.
Okay.
I don't really care either way.
Yeah. Okay. I'm fine with that.
All right, can I make a case for number 8 maybe? I think that, all right, and that's coming from me, who's a huge Dark Souls fan. I thought Neo, well, we already talked about the story, but that's not why I play those games. I'm not even taking that into account. Neo has awesome gameplay, really cool boss fights. The problem with that game is what's so important is those games is A, the environment, and B, like the variation with who you're fighting. And it sucks at those two. Like it starts to really go downhill after about 20 hours or something. The game's like 40 hours. It's ridiculous. So,
are you going to get a pizza? Where are you headed?
No, someone knocked on the door. Yeah, I would put that towards the lower end for sure. Just for that reason.
I will fight for Neo to be higher.
I think it needs to be a little higher, especially after we talked about something like Yakuza 0. And I know you guys both are talking about how good it is. Is it, based on everything we talked about, does it really deserve to be much higher than that 7-8 range?
If you're asking me, it's top 3. But we're not asking just me. We're asking a panel.
Okay.
So.
Well, you have a right to say top 3.
I mean,
so
I think
it's
one of the most underrated series that everyone should be playing and nobody is.
But not the series, just this game.
This game is
the
best in the series. It is the best Yakuza game. Period.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm with Kyle. I'm not going to put it in my top 3. No, I'm not that far into
I don't expect it to get that high, but yeah, I wouldn't be looking at 8 for it. Yeah.
Neo, look, I'm not even a fan of Nier. I'm not a fan of Pyra, but I'm not going to shoot them down to an 8. I think all those games can go up, but I think a game we need to talk about is Hellblade. Hellblade shouldn't even be in the top 10. Put it at 8. Put it at 8.
Yeah, I think Neo's a better game than Hellblade, 100%. If we're talking about that.
I do think Neo's better than Hellblade. I'm okay with Hellblade at 8. I think it needed to be in the top 10, but I know with this panel, it's going to be tough to fight for it to go higher.
It's just the two of us. I mean, we'll be at a stalemate against them. So
I'm just kind of tired of fighting. I'm just tired of fighting for this depressing game. You know, I'm just tired of fighting for it. It's really, really good. I would personally probably put it around 4 or 5.
Me too.
But that doesn't mean that I think 8's fine. 8's fine for
All
this
right,
one.
so let me ask you this, because I think we're going to be a little more passionate about Sony than we were about Microsoft and Nintendo, and that's mainly because we all thought the same with Nintendo. We all didn't have anything to say about Microsoft.
Yeah.
But Sony, I'm pretty passionate about certain games, so I think we should all pick one game that we think ultimately deserves to be in the top 5 that we would fight for.
Okay.
Now, you don't have to fight for Horizon Zero Dawn. Nobody's a dummy. We all know it's going to be probably number 1.
Right.
Oh, hopefully not.
But I'm picking my game that I will fight for on this list that I want top 5 is Neo. Okay. Neo is my favorite of those.
Okay.
Besides Horizon.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. The one that I know, again, if Horizon's going to be in there, then I'm looking at. I just want to make sure Nier gets in the top 5.
I'm so glad you said it because I wanted to say a different one.
Yeah, Nier needs to be in the top 5.
Good.
Kyle's going to say Persona 5.
Why do I have to say anything? Thanks, Derek. Just say it for me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. No, but you're right. It's Persona 5.
All right, so Rudy, what's your one game that has
He's
to
going
be
to say
in the
Pyre.
top 5?
He's going to say Pyre. Do it, Rudy.
I like
Uncharted
Pyre a lot too, but yeah, I'm gonna pick Pyre.
Oh boy.
There's no way that. Oh God, I don't know. It's hard.
All right, so then can we put Yakuza 0 at 6 then, since that was not a saved one?
6? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's fair.
I like that.
Oh,
Are we fine with Pyre going at 7 though?
Oh.
After he just said top 5.
No, wait, you just said top 5.
Yeah.
So it would have to be Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Oh man, am I real?
I feel wrong doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel wrong doing that too, but
I think Uncharted is a better game than Neo. Does anyone agree with me?
It's ranked higher for me personally, but I think Neo has a lot more going for it in terms of. Like,
I think Neo's great. I'm okay with it being top 5, but I don't know, man.
Okay, so can we move Yakuza down one spot, and can we put Uncharted at least at 6, since that's one that Derek saved for top 5?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair.
The only reason why I'm not fighting for Yakuza more is because I haven't played it as much. But if I did, I probably would be fighting with Kyle.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and fight, especially a game against like Uncharted. I mean, it's just hard. It's busy.
Okay, so Uncharted Lost Legacy was really, really great. When you compare it to, I'm not gonna say Neo or Pyre; those aren't personally above it for me. But Horizon, Nier, and just based on what I know, just the reputation of Persona 5, I don't think it's better than any of those. So I'd probably put it at number 4 if I had to do an objective list as best as I could, maybe number 5. So at 6 isn't too bad for me. Sure. It's an amazing game. Uncharted Lost Legacy is fantastic.
Do we all agree that Horizon Zero Dawn is number 1? It's my number 1.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It was my favorite Sony game of the year. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just put it in the number 1 spot. Now the tough part is going to figure out 2 through 5, because I absolutely hate Nier. I don't care about Pyra. And I actually would rate Persona 5 above both of those, and then I would obviously rate Neo above Persona 5.
All right. Well, let me just say this. I haven't played a lot of Nier. I like what I played, and Persona 5. Anyone with a brain can realize, even if they haven't played it, that game is a quality game, right? I understand that too.
I think all of them are quality.
Well, yeah, definitely. But I mean, I think Persona 5 is on a really high level. Okay. But I'm not budging yet on Pyre versus Neo. I think Pyre is a better game than Neo. I think it does way more that we haven't seen before. The story is way better. The gameplay is more interesting. Is it as fun? No, I'll give you that.
All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make this easy for everybody. We're gonna slide Uncharted Lost Legacy up to 5 because I feel like it's wrong being at 6.
Okay. It does feel weird, doesn't it?
We're gonna put Neo at 6. And then I'm gonna let you peasants fight out the rest because I don't care about your stupid games.
I'll take Pyre for that. That's fine.
So you're putting Neo at 6. So Derek, you're kind of substituting your one save. You're kind of making Uncharted your one save, and you're letting it sit
because
at the
honestly,
spot.
I expected Horizon and Uncharted to be locks for the top 5.
So did I.
Yeah, same. I mean,
but
it just feels weird
if we're looking at these. So we've still got Nier, Persona 5, and Pyre to figure out 2 through 4. Honestly, I would put Uncharted above Pyre on that list. So I'd put Uncharted. If we're going to move Uncharted, then let's put it at 4 where I wanted it originally. That's what I would say.
And I screwed over Rudy.
At 5. Okay, but let me make an argument. Rudy. Let me make an argument against Pyre. And I like Pyre a lot. This game is on my personal top 10, maybe close to the top 5.
Sure.
The problem with Pyre is that it's super, super repetitive. It really is truly a sports game at its core because you are playing the same game over and over again against a new team. It just happens to be surrounded by one of the more charming and creative settings. That's why it's in my top 10 and maybe top 5 list.
Okay.
But it, in my opinion, doesn't do enough. It didn't do enough for me personally to keep most gamers going. There's not enough of the incredible story and setting to keep pushing most people along. I think Uncharted outclasses it both in terms of a variety of gameplay as well as the reason to keep going. So I think Uncharted's a better game than Pyre. I would put Uncharted at 4, Pyre at 5.
I think Uncharted's better than Nier.
I like Uncharted a lot, but compared to some of these other games like Nier, the way it does its multiple stories that connect, or Persona 5, how stylistic that is, I think Uncharted doesn't do nearly as much as these games do. Really.
I agree.
If you're talking about Uncharted 4, I'd be more on your side, but Uncharted Lost Legacy, the story wasn't great. Characters are awesome. We can all agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
The gameplay, though, especially that open world part, wasn't really great. That's the only reason why.
I actually didn't like that part. Yeah.
It's
not that I didn't like it. I was just like, I hope they got that out of their system.
Yeah, I just feel like
got that out of their system.
What we've come to expect from Naughty Dog and Uncharted, I just don't feel like it's on the same level, really. I know I'm on popular one though, and I like this more than Uncharted 4, which is really weird. But that being said, I'm okay with this sport.
I mean, I think it was pretty much on par with the best thing that Naughty Dog has made, and I think it was that good.
I think that it has the best action set piece in the entire series. That last, I don't want to go into it for spoilers or whatever because people get crazy about it, but it is like the greatest hits of all like the action set pieces. It's awesome.
Well, and it actually does what all the Uncharted games did a good job of. I think it does the best job of, and that's make you care about these two characters who really don't have a ton in terms of personality and depth at the beginning, and by the end, I really liked both, and I can't wait for them both to be in another game together.
I hope they are. Yeah.
I think it deserves a number 4 spot over Pyre, which is also a game that I really, really like because I know Persona 5 is probably going to be at 2. Although for me personally, I would put Nier at number 2. I think it's the second best Sony game.
Voting Persona 5 at 2.
I'll do Persona 5 at 2. Even though I could take Nier at 2 all day. I love both of those games. So
vote whatever you want.
Which is better?
5, but I'm just I'd be pretty happy with either.
All right, so 2 votes for Persona 5. Rudy, I don't think you played both, right? Have you played both?
No, I've only played Nier somewhat. I haven't played Persona 5.
So you would probably vote for Nier, and then you have Tim voting for Nier. Why don't we go to...
Persona 5 at number 2.
We got an 88 for Nier. What's Persona?
93.
93.
Yeah.
So there you go. That makes the decision for us.
I think that's a good list.
That's a great list. Yeah.
That's really good.
And Horizon Zero Dawn, we didn't talk about it a lot. It's definitely deserving of the top spot. It's
Horizon Zero Dawn is
we got 3.
It's just like with Zelda. It's going to be one of those games we talk about a lot with best overall game. It is basically the epitome of what I want in an action adventure open world game. That's and we'll get more.
I'm about to start my new game plus, and I never do that.
Yeah,
in any game.
Yeah,
I never do that
because there's too many other games, right?
No, there's way too many other.
Before we go through this top 10 list and set it as a final top 10 for this year's Game of the Year awards, Rudy, is there any other case you want to make one last time for moving something, specifically Pyre, or are you have you resolved yourself that it's stuck at 5?
Yeah, that's okay. I'm all right with it.
You're just happy it made the list, I'm guessing.
I am. I am impressed. I've been able to get this game on so many lists this far, so I'm okay with it.
Okay. All right. So starting at number 10, working our way up to 1. Rudy, can you read off our top 10 Sony games of the year?
Yes, sir. We have at number 10, Tales of Berseria. I can never say that. Berseria. I'm like Derek right now.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I
know. All right, number 9, Gravity Rush 2. Number 8, Hellblade. Just Hellblade. Number 7, Yakuza 0. Number 6, Neo. 5, Pyre. 4, Uncharted The Lost Legacy. 3, Nier Automata. 2, Persona 5. And number 1, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Love it. Yeah. Love it, especially when you have to take in other people's opinions. It's tough. Like Persona 5 wouldn't make my list because I didn't play it, and Nier wouldn't make Derek's list because he didn't like it. So we would all have different lists, right? So it's nice to try to combine them this way. So thank you so far for not wanting to kill each other. This has been good.
Cordial.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, just wait till we get to the top 10.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. The top 10 is going to be tough because I think this has been possibly my favorite year ever. Just real quick, of course, the community also agrees, and they picked Horizon Zero Dawn for their favorite Sony game of the year.
What a game, man.
All right, so we are going to wrap up this conversation, and we are going to wait until, I think in a few days, we're hoping to record one last time. We're going to cover favorite remaster, that's just a personal pick, our most anticipated game of next year or beyond, and then depending on whether or not you guys are feeling a debate for this one or not, we could talk about best DLC or expansion, and then our final 2 categories. Best multi-platform game, which starts to integrate some of these non-exclusives, basically if they were across multiple platforms, and then finally, best overall game of 2017.
Can't wait for that one.
And then that'll be it. Then we'll sign off. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys, Kyle and Rudy, especially for joining us. I know it's tough to schedule this stuff, so I really appreciate it. And yeah, that's it for this week.
Who is your daddy? I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?